to share. So we just stop me halfway if you have questions or the mic is not working. Yeah. So we're supposed to be on page 120. Oh yeah, group 3, constituents, merge, and trees. It should be further down. 120. I think we ended here. Let's just revise. So C-merge is complement merge. Okay, and then what is complement merge? Complement merge is the definition. There is a head of a constituent. The head of a constituent is the element that subcategorizes for the other elements in a constituent. Okay, so for example, Kani shows you the phrase "these cats." So he says, complement merge, C-merge, combine 2 or more items together into a constituent as required by the internal features of one of the items. The constituent is given the label of the head, typically followed by a P to indicate that the final constituent is a phrase. So the label is a DP. Label here is a DP. Determiner phrase. Okay, so determiner phrase is the final stage when we are combining the constituent, right? So we take the constituent DP and then we look into the constituent and we say what are in the DP, and we found that we are trying to account for the derivation of these cats. So these cats, what is this? This is the determiner, and then cats is a noun. So after we determine this, we go back and do our feature notation for this and feature notation for N. Okay. And in this instance, Kani is saying that D is the head of the DP. D, determiner, is the head of the determiner phrase. Therefore, the subcategorization for determiner will require a certain kind of complement. So here, cats is a complement. D is the head. Cats is the complement. Okay, and then he shows you how it works. So he says there is a principle of full interpretation. Oh, sorry, I think I want to the other. Yeah. So he gives you the principle of full interpretation, preliminary version. He says if 2 items are merged together, their feature structures must be compatible, and this is called a constraint. We say that a constraint is a formal statement which define what are the possible structures. So we see here he has given us the feature notation for these. So these, the category is a determiner, and then the subcat. The subcat, then there is this requirement. Okay, it's called an internal feature. Internal feature has a requirement for a certain complement. So what is the complement? The complement is a noun, category noun. It has features plus count, and then it has agreement alpha, which is number, and number, which is plural. So this bit is the important part. It shows that the element satisfying the internal feature of the word, these must meet these various requirements. So whatever word that comes after this will have to follow this feature notation. Okay. So he says this is a quite complicated feature structure that says that this is a determiner. It is plural. This is a determiner. It is plural. It requires the word to be followed by a count noun, which is also plural, as indicated by the internal feature. Okay. Then we saw, so this is a word which we want to see whether cats can satisfy the requirement of the determiner. So a partial feature for the word is given in 2. So we see that the category is n, and then the subcat is now a plus count, and then the agreement alpha is number plural. So these features apparently are a perfect match for the internal specification in 1. So this feature that we have for cats, if you look up, it matches with what internal specification for determiner. Okay, so it seems like a good fit, good fit. Okay, now he goes on to say, since we have a match, we can use the C-merge rule to join this together. So then, since this has an internal feature specification and cats fulfill that specification, so this structure is licensed. License ni macam permitted, allowed. It's like when you want to go driving, you must bring your license. You must have a license to drive, so something like this. So this structure is licensed by the constraint, full interpretation, FI, because cats meets the internal requirement of this. Because cat is a noun, because cat is plus count, and it has a agreement feature plural. So then, so if that is, if you understand that, that's good. And then he tells you further, why is it that 4A and 4B is like this? This cat and that cat. So we say that, I think last time we discussed this, we say that because this is a plural. So in the internal specification of determiner this, THESE, will have the noun also having the feature plural. However, cat is a singular, is one cat. Not so. Being that, they are not compatible. They are not acceptable. What about that cats? That is also not acceptable because you see the asterisk. Asterisk is ungrammatical because that is a determiner which is a definite determiner, and usually you are referring to one, a singular determiner. And then cats. Cats is the plural noun. So in the internal specification of that, it will say it requires a noun which is singular. Because this is singular, that is singular, it requires a noun which is singular. And cats is a plural. So cannot also. So the unacceptability of 4 is because their features are not matching. Okay. Then expressing complements. Any question on this? I think this is a very important part that you need to understand. Any question? You can on your mic and ask me if you have any question. Okay, so I think everything is fine. Expressing complements. So complement, as we say just now, is the word or phrase that is C-merged with the head as required by the head's internal feature. So the complement is the constituent that comes after the head. So they will be complement merged with the head as specified by the head's internal feature. So very important, the head. So with these cats, the word these is the head, and the word cats is a complement to the head, which is a determiner again, because it is selected for by the internal feature of this. Then last class, we also discussed this example, question 3, and we noticed that, so we sort of say, okay, what is the head? So we say the cat, the is the head of the determiner phrase. And then the tuna, same thing. And then 8 is the head. Verb can also be a head, remember that. Verb is always a head actually for the sentence. So verb is the head, and then the tuna is the complement. And then John went to the store. So if you look at this sentence, this part of the sentence, that it is a constituent, to the store. And to being the preposition is the head of the prepositional phrase. So the store is the complement to the preposition. So in the specification of to, you will say that you need a certain noun which has this feature. So then apparently the store will be able to fulfill that feature. Okay, and then Kani talks about some slightly more complex internal feature. So we also discussed this, whereby di-transitive verbs with 2 arguments. So gave is a di-transitive verb, the tuna is one argument, to Pango is another argument, and then Kelvin gave Pango the tuna. So in this instance, the determiner phrase is the complement, the determiner phrase, the tuna, is a complement. So it has 2 complements, which is the argument again. Then we see example, I put the book in the box. This is another complex verb which has 2 arguments. So the 2 arguments are determiner phrase, the book, which is also a complement to the verb, the head, put. And then you have the in the box, which is another argument, which is also the complement to the verb put. So there are 2 complements. One is the DP, one is the PP. I think that Kelvin likes tuna. In this instance, it's a bit different from before in that there's only one complement, and the one complement is actually a complex structure, a complement phrase. So don't be confused with complement, and then you have the complement phrase. So on one hand, complement is the element which is required by the head. So please write it down. The complement is the element which is required by the internal specification of the head. Okay, and you've seen the kind of complement. This complement phrase is another kind of complement. So I think that Kelvin likes a tuna. So that Kelvin likes a tuna is a complement phrase. A complement phrase which has the complement that, and then it has a whole sentence. So it's a that with a whole sentence. Okay, so you notice that if I say I think that, if I stop here, cannot. And if I say I think that Kelvin, full stop. I think that Kelvin, full stop. Also not grammatical. I think that Kelvin likes, full stop. Also not grammatical. But I have to say everything. I have to say I think that Calvin likes tuna. Then only is grammatical. So that means think is a verb which has its internal specification a CP, a complement phrase, a complement with a sentence embedded in it, a complement phrase. Okay, so then he goes on to say, we're going to look at merger of complements. We will deal with the external feature later for the external argument. So now this is the tree for the, after we've combined everything, first we do a C merge of the DP, the and dish, and then we get the DP. And then the we go step by step, right? So the next higher constituent is a PP. So we say, okay, what's in the PP? The PP has in the dish. So we say, okay, the P in has an internal specification, and apparently the DP satisfy that specification. So they combine. They become PP. All right. So this is one big constituent with two constituents in it. And then food also have the tuna. So the tuna is different from in the dish. The tuna is another complement to the verb. So then we draw, we C merge, we complement merge, C merge the determiner the with the tuna. And then after we've checked whether the specification of determiner the is satisfied by the tuna, okay, then we C merge them. We merge them. We put them together, we get a DP. Right? So now we have a V, DP, PP. Then we can draw the VP phrase, which has the V, the D, and the PP. That is also called a merge. Why is it called a C merge? Because the verb is a head of the VP. Yeah? So the verb is the head, and then the verb takes on the complement DP and the complement PP. And this is how we represent the fact that the verb has these two complements. So let's break this apart into smaller steps. So he tells you. So usually we start on the right side with the and dish. The requires an and due to its internal feature. So the is determiner the is a head. It has its internal feature. So after and satisfy that feature, we merge them together and put a label DP. I told you just now. All right. So then, so what happens is, okay, dish is the complement to the D, right? Dish is the complement to the D, and then you have the DP. Okay. So the DP is the complement to the P. Tadi kita katakan the PP prepositional phrase has two level. One is the level of the DP, the dish, and the other is the level of the in the dish. Two stage. So so the noun here is the complement to the determiner, and then you get a DP. This DP is a complement to the prepositional phrase, because the prepositional phrase as a head will say I need a certain feature specification, and coincidentally the DP, the dish, satisfy that, and then they merge. All right. So you could actually draw draw the tree for gave the tuna to the cat. Gave, and then you have the determiner phrase, and then you have the prepositional phrase. Or you can have both determiner phrase. Gave the cat the tuna. Ask the time. You're gonna take like 5 minutes to do that. Just draw on your paper, and then take a picture and show me. I want Yap Ju Sui. Yap Ju Sui. To
Yes,
draw for
doctor.
me 5A. Yes, draw for me 5A. The tree diagram. Draw trees for the following word phrases. And then I want Shahira Mir Muzid. Ada? Shahira Mir Muzid? Ada tak? Tak ada ya? Nurul Nur Atira Saiful Anwar. Ada tak? Nurul Nur Atira Saiful
tak boleh hadir hari ni, doktor.
Kenapa?
Sebab family dia ada hal, jadi dia tak boleh nak hadir. Dia ada something going on with the family, so she can't attend.
Alright. So it will be reflected in the attendance. Asia Aisyah. Asia Aisyah Nur Iskandar Halim.
Yes, doctor.
Asia Aisyah. Yes. Can you draw for me 5B? Give the cat the tuna.
Okay.
And then the last one, I want Nur Atika Samsul Bahrain.
Yes, doctor.
Nur Atika Samsul. Yeah. Can you draw for me Ask the Time?
Okay, doctor.
Draw the trees. I'm not asking you to give the feature notation. Just draw the trees. As in the question. Draw the trees. We assume that we've done the teacher notation, but I just want to see whether you know the constituent for the sentence. The rest can also attempt. Yeah? The rest do, and then we can you can compare your answers to the answers.
Doctor?
Yeah. Are you ready?
No. Just have a question. Is it possible that I ask now?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Who is this?
Eunice.
Oh, Eunice, yes.
Yes. Would like to ask about the head. So meaning the exercise for question 3, the fifth, the cat ate the tuna. So is it meaning that each sentence have one head or more than that? Because the cat ate the tuna, you can have the as a head for the cat and the as the head for the tuna and ate as the head for ate the tuna. So
Yes.
So
Okay.
is it one head or 3 heads
Good
in a
question.
sentence?
You know, Eunice, it goes by the constituent. So we have to decide, for example, 5A, the cat ate the tuna. How many constituents are there in that sentence?
1, 2, 3. Can it
Yeah.
be
So
3?
for example, the tuna is one constituent, right? The tuna at the end, about 5A. So like I've the one on the screen right now. So the cat ate the tuna. So the tuna is one constituent. So if we look at the tuna, you have to decide which is the head and which is the complement. So the is the head, tuna is a complement.
Yeah.
And then we go to a higher constituent, which is the VP, 8. Okay. 8 is a verb, and the verb always signals a VP lah. When you have a head, there's always a final projection, you call it. So if it's a determiner just now, the highest projection for that constituent is the DP. And if you have a verb, the highest projection, the highest level is a VP. So the next constituent is 8, the tuna. So for each of the constituent, we have to decide which is the head and which is the complement. So 8, the tuna, the head is the verb 8. So 8 will have a specification for a certain kind of noun, a certain kind of determiner phrase. So then we will have another, how do you say, a C-merge. After we've decided that they are compatible, so we will draw another projection for VP. VP, which has the verb 8. I think I go, where is it? I'll show you by a PowerPoint. Let's see. Where should I do this? I should, okay. Reset image size. I cannot orientate. So if you look at, can you see what our friend has done? Jusiu, tilt your head a bit.
Yes, doctor.
So so for this what do you call this is a big constituent, the VP, but actually it has internal constituents. One constituent is the DP, the cat. So for each of the constituent units, I have to decide which is the head and which is the complement. So DP, determiner, the is the head, the complement is cat. So once I figure that out, they are matching, I C-merge them. I merge them together, they become DP. So then you have to go to the next higher constituent, which is a PP. So a PP will have its own head, which is the preposition, to, and then it has its complement, which is a DP, which is the cat. So actually, PP, preposition phrase, the constituent is to the cat, becomes the PP, right? So then we have to decide which is the head. The head is to, and which is the complement. The complement is the cat, and it is. Jusiu has drawn this very nicely. Thank you. And you find that the DP is the complement to the preposition. All right. And then so finish with this. Finish with this. Then the next complement is the tuna. So the tuna is another separate constituent, which is a DP, the tuna. So then we have to also break it down into the head, which is the determiner, and the complement is the head. So this is another. And then the last one is the BP, which is the biggest constituent. So we say which is the head. The head is, because it's a BP, verb phrase. So what's in the BP? Gave the tuna to the cat. So for the VP, the verb is the head. So verb is the gave. And then these two things, two elements, are the complement to the verb. So by drawing like this, we give recognition that the V is the head and the complement is the DP. So to your question, how many heads should there be in a sentence? My answer would be depending on how many constituents. So for example, here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 constituents. The cat, to the cat, second constituent. Then we have the tuna, the third constituent. And then we have the biggest or highest constituent, which is give the tuna to the cat, the BP. So 4 constituent, 4 heads. And the 4 heads will have their own constituents. All right. Let's see what. Thanks,
Doctor.
Jusiu. We look at.
Doctor.
Yes.
Doctor.
Can the word eight become a constituent on its own?
You have to go back to transitivity. Chapter dia yang unit transitivity tu. They say, Carney say that eat or ate is a transitive verb.
Okay.
Yeah. So it has to have a noun phrase complement, a determiner phrase complement. However, idiomatically, you can say I ate. When your friend asks you, have you eaten? Yeah, I ate. So there must be a context where it is like right now, about noon, you are seen walking back from the canteen. Then your friend asks you, have you ate? Have you eaten? Yeah, I ate. Although it looks like a intransitive verb because there's nothing coming after ate. But actually, ate is a transitive verb because even the meaning, when you say I ate, you must have eaten something. But in the context of what I said just now, you were in the corridor, coming back from the canteen. When your friend say, have you eaten? You say, yeah, I ate. Obviously, you've eaten lunch, but the context will give the interpretation of lunch lah. So your question to 8, can it be a constituent? To me, even though on the surface macam tak ada complement, but inside when you want to decipher the meaning, you will give the verb a complement because you must eat something. You cannot eat nothing. Yeah? You cannot say I ate but you didn't eat. Then that's, firstly, it's ungrammatical. The other thing is not truthful. There must be some reason why you say I ate. Maybe someone, there must be some reason. So a boy asks you, your classmate or who is a boy, or your university mate who's a boy, and you don't like to have lunch with him, and then he asks you, have you eaten? Then you say I ate, but actually you've not eaten. But that is another pragmatic lah, like pragmatic kind of thing. But for it is a pure transitive verb. Jadi kalau dia sama ada it is mention what the person ate or didn't mention, it still is transitive lah. Alright.
So a transitive verb cannot be a constituent.
Give an example.
I mean, like what you said, that since ate or eat or eaten is transitive verb, and it has to have it needs to have a complement name, so it cannot be a constituent. So
It is a constituent because we can say I ate.
is a constituent.
It's a constituent.
Uh,
By itself, ate is a constituent because in the context of I ate, the whole thing is a sentence with a subject I, and then ate is the verb. So it is a constituent of the sentence. Can the VP, can the verb phrase of the sentence?
Oh, but in this sentence, it cannot be a constituent.
Which sentence?
The sentence that you,
I ate.
no, the cat ate the tuna, whatnot.
Ate the tuna. Katakan the cat ate the tuna. Ate is a constituent because it forms a verb phrase.
So regardless of where it is, I mean, regardless of any sentence, if it has ate, the word ate is a constituent.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Because it's always they always happen somewhere. They always happen in a context.
If my judgment, if my argument is that you can substitute ate with another verb in that sentence, that's why it's a constituent, will you accept it?
Can, but you have to you have to substitute with another transitive verb.
I see.
I wash, I write.
All right, thank you.
All right. Okay, now we see Atika punya. Ask the time. Okay, so the time, the head is the D, and then it specifies for a noun like time. The feature di nanti later we will practice. So it satisfies. Therefore, we C merge them. We C merge them, and then it becomes a DP. Now we go to the next bigger constituent, which is a VP. So then, what is the head of the VP is us, and then what is the complement of the V is DP. So then we draw, and we can get a VP. Okay, good. Thank you so much. And then what's the Asia, Aisha, no. Any question about these two diagrams, 3 diagrams? Asia was supposed to do what itself? Asia was supposed to do
Sent it already.
okay. Can you okay. Give the cat the tuna. Yeah. So give has two argument, has two complement. I can say argument, I can say complement. Although it's a different context, when I say give, it's a ditransitive verb because it has two arguments, the cat and the tuna. Gave as the head specifies or requires two complement. Also can, two complement, which is the cat and the tuna. Any question about this? So when Eunice asked me that question just now, I think on the part of Eunice, she was not clear about the concept of the head. Because in that example that she gave, only one determiner was underlined, but not the other determiner after the verb can. But I hope now, Eunice, you're clearer about the head and the complement. Okay, right.
Yes.
Thank you. Good. Just want to check whether you all understand. So now we go back to the book. Sorry. Definition.
Sorry, doctor, I'm not sure if it's just me, but I can't hear anything at the moment. Is your mic on mute?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, doctor.
Sorry, I didn't on the mic.
Okay.
What? Hold on, cancel. Okay. Need to stop recording. Turn on. Sharing. So, principle of headedness. So, principle of headedness in any circumstance where a subcat feature mentions a category, one may substitute in a phrase headed by that category, and vice versa. So, for example, you can easily substitute NP for N, usually for proper nouns. I saw Rugaya. So I saw Rugaya. Rugaya is a proper noun, and it's just an N. So it's okay to have only Rugaya under NP, isn't it? It's okay. So you can have NP for N or N for NP. You can have full like the house NP, and then you can have N like Rugaya for determiner phrase. That's okay. DP for D or D for DP, DP for B or B for BP. Maknanya DP can macam tadi 8, I ate already. That BP has only one B, so we can say B, or B for BP. Okay, so then he explains about this, that we can substitute a word determiner for a phrase in the internal feature of the verb saw. So in the internal feature of saw, you would have, it requires a noun that has certain feature, but that the DP can only can also be represented by determiner, like those. So I saw those, only one item, one element in that DP. It's okay. Ataupun I saw Rogaya. Rogaya is an N. That's okay also. Tak semestinya every time it has to have a noun phrase, the house. It can also be a name, a proper name. It can be just the determiner, because you can say that I want that. When you say I want that, so one is a head, one will specify. It has a determiner phrase, and that then you will say that it only has the D, okay, the determiner for I saw those. So the 3 for a VP, the 3 for a VP in a sentence such as I saw those cats is given in 20. So notice that under the VP, the V is only one element here. That's okay. Because sometimes you have I have seen those cats. So there will be something else happening with the verb see, which is the have. But in this instance, there's only one, which is saw. That's okay also. Okay, then we go to null determiners. Null determiners means things which, like I say just now. Now consider the following sentences. I love Kelvin. I love sugar. I love beans. You notice that in these examples, there's no determiner. You have a determiner phrase which has only the noun, Kelvin. You have a determiner phrase which only has sugar, which is a noun. Also with beans. So, bila kita kata determiner, it always happens before the noun, isn't it? The cat, the house. So there are certain examples like I said just now that is a proper noun, Kelvin. No determiner happening before Kelvin. Or sugar. I love sugar. No determiner before sugar. I love beans. No determiner before beans. So we assume that the internal feature for the verb love is internal DP. It requires a DP, but that DP only has an or has a determiner. So this is talking about quantifier lah. The quantifier many appears only with count nouns. The quantifier much appears with mass nouns. We can express this in the following feature. Mass, count and mass. So many is count. So it's a determiner because it happens like many books, many cars, many people. So it happens before a noun. So many is a determiner category. Subcat dia, it requires an internal specification. It requires a noun. And the noun has to be plus count and plus plural. And what about mass? Mass, much sugar, much love. So much is a determiner. Subcat, it has an internal specification for a noun which has minus count. So these are the crucial difference between many and much. So he wants to tell you about some null. Null is zero. This is null. Zero present, zero past. Let's see what this one is null. And how does he represent this? So when we say Kelvin, I saw Kelvin. So the DP is Kelvin, right? So then there is an N, but he wants to present it in a full way. So he postulates that there is a D, but the D is empty. He wants to be uniform between the house and Kelvin. So how does he do that? He says in the house, the is a determiner. It appears in the DP. But when you have Kelvin, only N. But he wants to make it systematic, uniform with the house. So he says in a DP, even though there is only one Kelvin, but he wants to suggest a D, and that D is a null. Null ni kosong lah. A null D, which is a proper. So dia cerita lah, dia bagi detail that this null is to accommodate for proper noun. Okay? Ataupun kita kata sugar. I love sugar tadi kan? I love sugar. Then the DP will have sugar, but he wants to retain the D. So he will say there's a null D. Null determiner. And this null determiner because it is sugar. So dia kata null mass. The same thing with beans. So beans are also a null determiner, and then you have a minus definite and plural. So since these are all DPs, A, B, C, they're all DPs, they will meet the internal DP requirement of the verb love. Okay, love tu maknanya the VP lah. Okay, so the VP will take love, will take DP Kelvin. The verb phrase love will take sugar. The verb phrase love will take beans. That's what he's saying. So this is the spec for your determiner today. So he gives you, with this in mind, let's sketch out some partial features for these various determiners. So he gives you the, which is a definite determiner. Here we use the semantic feature. So we say D is a determiner. Subcat, they have some internal specification. So these are the features, minus D, minus proper, and plus count. And then you have the semantic. D carries a definite meaning. And then agreement feature, person, third person. Okay. So just at first blush, at first sight, at first glance, this looks pretty complicated. But as I said just now, we started from the very minimal to what is it now. So it doesn't look complicated. I hope for you, it doesn't look complicated because we know how we built it. But in fact, they are straightforward. Each bit represents some information about these determinants that we need to know. The plus definite values of the same feature, plus minus values and feature, tells us about the definiteness of the determinants. So for the, it's for a, sorry. For a is minus definite. For the is plus definite again. So the agreement features tells us that these always appear on nouns that are third person and singular. For a, there's only one big difference between the two entries. A is marked for singular, but the has no specification of number. So we look down. We look. The next page is, oh, I see. The first page just now is this one is the. Oh. So this is the is plus definite, and then this is a is minus definite. A car can be any car, not definite. Okay, then let's look at the determinant yang kosong. What about the zero? The same structure we built for a zero determinant. So zero proper. This is for Kelvin, remember? So I love Kelvin. So since we say the DP is DP consists of D, which is zero proper, and then the N is actually Kelvin, kan? So we have to write a feature notation for zero also. So zero, this is zero. It's a determinant. It's an internal, it has the internal specification, and it is a noun. Minus determiner plus proper, which is because it's a proper noun, plus count. It's definite because it's Kelvin definite. Agreement feature third person. Any question about this? Soalan tak? Okay, we go back and read. Alright. Time is running out. I'm just going to go straight to movement. Oh, where is movement? Did I jump movement? Okay. Complement, case study. A little bit more. Let's go to page 156, which is unit 14, specifiers. Oh, 157. Unit 14, kita skip. Sekali lagi. Dah mau pun dah 14.4 kita sekali. Ke belakang. Lepas 15.6. Okay. Specifiers. Remember we looked at complement. So another category is called specifiers. So the merge rule gave us complements. Next we turn to external features. External features. Specifiers. What are specifiers? The specifier of an argument, the specifier is an argument that is required by the external feature. These are arguments that typically end up being the subject of the sentence or the possessor in a complex DP. So for example, the cat ate all the tuna. So the specifier is the subject, the cat. Or the cat's plate of tuna. So you have the apostrophe S, which is the possessor, possession. Then the cat's plate of tuna, the cats. So the cat in the cats is the specifier. Identify whether the underlined DPs in the following sentences and DPs are specifiers or complement relative to the boldface. Circle the correct answer. So the box of tissues fell into the bath. So is tissue a complement or specifier? So this is a complement. Complement to of. Complement. The box of tissues fell into the bath. So the underline is the box of tissues. This is the subject, and the subject is a specifier again. So this is a specifier. Just remember, subject external argument is a specifier. And then C, the box of tissues fell into the bath. Fell into the bath. So this is a constituent, a preposition phrase, into the bath. So into is the head, the bath is the complement. Okay. And then D, Kelvin's book of articles caused a sensation. We have a possessor here. So a possessor, and the underline is Kelvin. So Kelvin is the specifier of the possessor. Or E, Kelvin's book of articles caused a sensation. So we have the verb as the head, and then what is a specifier? Kelvin's book of articles, because it is the subject. So just remember, subject is specifier outside external argument. Okay. Kelvin's book of articles caused a sensation. Here, the bolder is off. So you're talking about the preposition phrase of article. So article is a complement to the of. And then Kelvin's book of articles caused a sensation. The head is the verb. So this is a complement. The underline is a complement. Okay, so specifiers are introduced to satisfy a head's external feature. Take for example the verb kiss. Recall from Unit 8, Transitivity, that kiss has the following feature structure. So a kiss is a verb. It has a doer, external argument, which is the specifier, subject. This is the subject. So then we have external here. And the internal is kiss Mary, for example. So Mary is the internal DP. So the internal feature tells us that kiss must be C-merged with a DP that signifies the entity who is kissed. So the internal feature, now we have two things. One is the internal feature of the head, and we have the newly introduced specifier. So here he says the internal feature tells us that kiss must be C-merged with a DP, this DP, that signifies the entity who is kissed, the person undergoing the, yang receive the kissing is the cat. So if we apply C-merge to kiss, we get a DP. And a DP, we get the cat, so we get a VP, kiss the cat. So when we do a merge operation that satisfies the requirements of a feature, we say that the feature is checked. Feature is checked. Dia ngam lah. The merging of the cat with kiss checks the internal feature of the verb kiss. So this is another concept of checking. Tadi kita kata kita buat feature notation and dia satisfy. So now another concept, bila dah satisfy, kita panggil dia check. It is checked. So the merge checks the internal feature of the verb. So then we also have specifier-merge. Tadi kita ada complement-merge. Now we talk about specifier-merge, S-merge. So S-merge combines two or more items into a constituent as required by the external feature of one of the items. The constituent is given the label of the head. So tadi ni actually to give way for the subject, which is a what? Specifier kan? So the principle of full interpretation requires that all features are compatible. The feature structure for kiss, seen as in above, contains the external feature that requires a DP that is animate, because only animate things can kiss. We need to check this feature as well. We do this by merging a constituent that meets the external requirements of the verb, thus checking that feature. So let's see, which is actually the next page. Just this one. Yeah. Okay. Should be 157. Okay. This is 158. There is 157. So specifiers are introduced. So we have specifier tadi, and then kita ada internal feature. Oh, I see you're going specifier-merge. Then we have this tree diagram in 5. So the resultant feature is still a VP. So this is the subject. You remember the man? He's here. This is because why is the DP here? Because the DP is required by the VP. Kita pergi balik dekat feature notation of the verb tadi, which is on page. If you look at page 157, number 3 is the feature notation for the verb kiss. This one. And then dia kata kat sini, the verb requires the external feature, which is the DP, plus animate. So this is a specifier, and then the internal DP. So the specifier here is shown on page 5, on page figure 5. It's the next page. This one. So I'm saying why is the man here? Because it's the VP. The VP says I require an external argument, a DP. And I also requires an internal argument, which is the DP here. Itu maksudnya lah. Jadi the subject actually starts from here, under the VP. Okay? So kita kata with the DP we use a C-merge complement merge. With the VP, we use the VP inside. The VP inside, we use a C merge. But with the DP, the man is a specifier-merge, S merge. And now we go to movement. So with movement, all the modifiers of or arguments of the verb case are part of the VP, as we saw just now, headed by the verb case. However, there is a problem because actually the subject has to move to the front of the sentence, remember. So there are two serious problems with the 3 and 5, however. Most importantly, the 3 and 5 actually has a subject in the wrong position. And actually not in the wrong position lah kan. It starts from there, but it has to go somewhere. The other problem has to do with the plus animate. We'll deal with this in later. So you can actually go to feature unit 16 and see what's wrong with that. In the 3 diagram in 5, the DP, the man, is a specifier of the verb case. This is because it satisfies the external feature of case. No, however, notice what would happen if we were to merge this VP with a T note, tense note, TP. TP is a tense phrase, like will. Let's say we have a will. So TP, tense phrase, will carry a T, which is auxiliary like will. So, assuming that our intended sentence is a statement, not a question. So our intended structure that we want to derive is the man will kiss the cat. So in this instance, will is on the top, the man is here. So he's blocking. So will has to come down, and DP, the man, has to come up because it's a subject. So if you have the man, will the man kiss the cat, like this? Will the man kiss the cat? It is ungrammatical because it's supposed to be a statement. Ungrammatical. Then he talks about, but look at the 3 diagram at the bottom. This is what will happen. So just now we have the TP, will, tense, will, and then you have the subject which is under the VP. So what will happen is that this DP, the man, has to go up through the specifier movement. It has to go up, and then you flip to your next page. It gives you the new position. This position. So you notice that the man, it was from here just now, has gone up to the, you have to make way for the man, so you draw another TP. On top of the existing TP of will, you draw another TP, a tense phrase, to accommodate the specifier, which is the man. So then it becomes, the man comes here, then the sentence becomes, the man will kiss the cat. So we get a 3 derivation. So from 3 derivation, I'm revising now, revision. We have a complement, merge, C merge, C merge, C merge, C merge, but here is a S merge. This is an S merge. See what else. Then he talks about movement motivated by case and all that lah. But I think we're not gonna go at that. I think why do we draw? Okay, actually, question 3. Question 3. On page 161, question 3. They ask you to draw. So look at question 2. Just look at question 3 lah. Question 3. We want to draw the cat ate the tuna lah, because we didn't do had eaten, had been eating. We don't do that, kan? So we're just going to do a simple 3, which is the cat should eat the tuna. So remember, should is an auxiliary. Auxiliary happens in the specifier position of the verb. So macam will tadi. So the cat should eat the tuna. So I go to my PowerPoint. Let's see, I stop sharing. I'm going out for a while. Okay, I want to share the see. Let's see. Can you see the PowerPoint? Can you hear me?
Yes, but we can't see the PowerPoint.
We can't see the PowerPoint. We have to open it first. See. Content. Share. Yeah. we have to mark the constituent. I put a square bracket. I say the tuna. Then eat is the other constituent. And then shoot is another constituent. The cat is another constituent. Steps of derivation of a sentence. Number 1, mark the constituents in the sentence. How many constituents in the sentence? Number 2, do feature notation. So take the most right constituent. Most right, eh? Ini tuna lah. Kita selalu mula kanan, eh? Kanan ke kiri. So take the most constituent, which is the tuna. And then draw a feature notation for tuna. And then draw a feature notation for the. Okay, and then demonstrate match, like arrows. Matching of features by drawing arrows. Kita tengok dalam buku teks tadi kan. We have arrows to show match. And then we say, okay, after we match, we checked. Do checking. Note that. Do checking, and then we do merge the two constituents. If they match and satisfy the full interpretation principle. In this case, it's a C merge, company merge. And then number 8, repeat. Take the second higher constituent, which is the VP, and repeat steps. Three, 2, 7. Number 9. take, we have a auxiliary there. So we have to, it should be a tense phrase, can? TP. Draw a TP node to include the T. In this case, is a should. Tense phrase, which is a TP node. To include the T, which is a should. And then you do movement. But you have to draw number 10. Draw feature notation for subject, isn't it? Subject, the cat. And then you do an S-merge. Then do S-merge, which is Specifier-Merge. It's an S-merge. I'll put this in the iFolio for you, together with the recording. Any question? Okay. Listen. Steps of derivation of sentence. So you go step by step from the rightmost of the sentence, paling kanan, dan kita pergi step by step after each constituent. So kita mula dengan DP the tuner. Lepas dah buat dah DP the tuner, then we say what's the next constituent, which is it. Then we do it combined with it notation, feature notation, and then it matches, so we do it the tuner. Then we do should. Then we do the cat actually can. The cat should be after, because it requires internal, the tuner, and it requires external. So that's why the cat is under the VP, but it's the V head which requires external. So the V comes, the cat, which is the subject, comes together with the V under the VP. And then we draw the TP. The TP, then we put should. We put should for the TP, T should, and then we do an S-merge. And S-merge will see that the subject will go up to the specifier of the TP, another TP. Yeah? So this is what we see. The answer for question 3 is actually on page 168 again. So you look at 168, the answer for, so Q3, Q3B. So let's say B just now was the cat ate the tuna. Okay? So you find that this is the, you have the DP, the VP, and then the VP of the external argument, the cat. And then you have the tense phrase, Kat sini dia tak ada should, dia tak ada should. Tapi A, okay. A is actually on page 167, sorry. A is actually on page 167. Kat bawah sekali tu. That is the diagram for 3A. The cat should eat the tuna. So first we have the tuna on the right side. The next highest is the VP. The next highest is the external argument for the verb. Sebab dalam notation verb eat dia minta external. So there's an external there. And then you project for a TP, tense phrase, which has the should. And then you show the DP, the subject moving to the specifier of the TP, another TP. And that is a specifier movement, specifier-merge. So let's draw another 3. Let's have you draw. Let's do another one here. You only know if you understand when you do it, right? So let's do it and like figure out what is it that you do understand. So let's say the army destroyed the city. The steps. Mark the constituents in the sentence. So I will mark. So what's the constituent? The city destroyed the army. Okay. So now spend the remaining 10 minutes to draw this. Just draw as much as you can. Of course, you have to do the feature notation. Do feature notation for the constituents. That means you have to do the notification for notation feature for the city, for destroyed, for the army. In actual fact, you have to do city first, or you do the first, and then what the requires, and then city, and then destroyed, and then the first, and then army. So just do that, and if you have any question, you can ask me. This is actually your assignment. In your assignment, you have to do this, showing a sample sentence from the language sample. Okay, the internet is not stable for me, I guess. But I actually think that we need another class actually for the movement. Otherwise, if you look at the chapters, there is a chapter, unit 18, which is for drawing trees. So this is a chapter which actually goes again step by step on what to do. So those of you who feel a bit lost, you can read chapter 18. Number 2, there are certain structures. We looked at statements, declarative. There are certain type of sentence like passives, WH, movement. Passive, there is passive ni kalau Melayu dia ada guna D. Baju dibasuh tadi kan, baju dibasuh tadi, so that's a passive. Or baju kena basuh, semalam. Atau baju ibu kena basuh. Macam tu lah. No, that's not passive. Adik dipukul, adik kena pukul semalam. Adik kena pukul semalam. That's a passive. So passive in Malay can be imbuhan di with oleh atau just imbuhan di, and the other one is the colloquial passive, which is kena. Adik kena bully. Dia kena tikam. Itu semua passive. So passive for how to draw passive, you can have it, it's in chapter 19 about passives. So for the D passive, there is similarities between English and Malay. So we can look at the D passive here. Kena tu, it's very a short passive. It's not difficult. So you can do the same like a simple sentence. And then we have like ayat tanya, which is questions. So questions is actually WH question. So if you want to do a WH question representation in your assignment, let's say, you can actually there is a chapter chapter unit 24, WH questions. So this they tell you how to actually draw for the WH question. Okay, so you can read it, and then if you have any question, you can message me by email or by iFolio again. You decide for yourself. If you think I think we should have another class. Although next week, do you have a study? I see. But because you don't have an exam, and you only have an assignment. So if you have questions, you can ask me at iFolio or UKM-Folio or email me. But let's say if you feel that it's up to you. If you feel you want to have another class where we talk about movement, then we can. But it will eat into your study week. Do you have a study week? But because you don't have exams, I think most of the speech papers, they don't have final exam. We turn the final exam into coursework. So it could be groupings. Let's say group 1. If Hillary, if you can discuss with your friends, if you want to do a whole class, that's okay. But let's say you don't want a whole class because there's no exam. You just want to meet as a group. So you can request for group meetings. Let's say Dr. Rugaya group 5 wants to have a discussion with you. So group 5 will contact me and say or email me or leave a message at UKM-Folio and say, Dr. Rugaya, can group 5 have a meeting with you? So we can actually arrange an informal discussion for your sentences that you want to present in your presentation and in your assignment. So it's basically the extra things after this is for your assignment. So it's up to you. So but if you feel you're fine when you read the book, it's quite simple, step by step, can be understood, then we just leave it at that. But yeah, I don't mind having discussions with any groups that wants to. Okay, so I think basically we will meet for the presentation, which presentation is 2nd of July at 2 p.m. Your group presentation is 2nd of July, 2 p.m. And then your assignment is due. When did I say your assignment is due? Refer to the modified or ask Hillary to confirm with me which what is the closing date that I said before. All right. So if there's any questions about that, okay. If there's no question, we end today's session. Thank you so much.
Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Yeah.
Have you seen our queries regarding the exam hari tu?
Kat mana tu? Queries?
Dekat UKM Folio, the platform that you made for us.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I will open it after this.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time and attention. And hopefully you've learned a little bit about morphology and syntax, and might be able. It's the understanding that's important, and then whether you do it. We actually have another tool that we can use for syntax. In year 3, there'll be a profiling tool that we use to describe the syntax of the language sample that you are analyzing. Okay, so this is just in exposure to the theory of morphology and syntax, and those interested will have to read more from the book. Yeah. Okay, so thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
So, anything?